Okay, 7 o'clock. How are you people? How is everyone? How's Easter shaping up for everybody? Here we are at Module 6, Get People to Beg for Your Business. So once again, as we just wait for a few more people to log on, yes, I am still around and about next week from Tuesday to Thursday, and I'm more than happy to book you guys in to do some Skype calls or phone calls if phone calls are easier for you. Oftentimes just as good to do a phone call with you. So let me know and I can book that in. And yeah, there's still been some fantastic conversations coming through. It's been great fun. So this webinar that we're doing today, Module 6, is one of my favorites because this is kind of where you get paid, particularly if you're interested in flipping businesses or selling businesses. You will know that there's a lot of businesses out there on the market for sale, but not a lot of them sell. Cannot see your slides. Thanks, Karen. Excellent. Thank you, Karen. So you should be able to see our slides now. And this is a process that I was taught and I have guided clients through to sell their businesses. A few of the clients have actually tried to sell their businesses before and haven't had success, and they haven't worked out why. My goal for this webinar is to help you to join up all the dots. The really good news is the things that you have already gone through in the previous webinars, you will be using a lot of those things to sell the business. I want to show you how powerful that is and how it works. So just doing a quick check. Can people see the slides at the moment? I'm guessing everyone can hear okay and everybody can see the slides okay. And that's all good. All good. Excellent. Great. Thanks, guys. Thank you all for coming along as well, being it's a busy period of year. Okay, let's kick off. Getting people to beg for your business. So we'll just... Excellent. So we're going to have a look at how to get people to beg for your business, getting them started in the right way, selling an organisation of support people. So you're not just actually selling the business, you're selling it's almost a different world that these people are able to tap into, and it becomes a very important world for them because it puts food on the table. I'm going to show you, you might have already heard of the lean or the 5S method. I'm going to show you how you can use that method to set your business up to sell it, and I'm going to show you how to be prepared to sell it as well. So that's what we're going to be going through. So the first thing to do is to imagine physically taking a prospective buyer for a tour of your business, and imagine introducing them to all the people on your team, showing them all the resources, your files on your computers, your paperwork, your folders, your office space, all of those different things, because that's basically what you're doing. And in that process, you're having them sell to themselves that they're interested in taking over this business. So this process is going to be, I've got someone by my side, or perhaps a husband and wife by my side, going down the journey of exploring this business. The first thing to do is to make sure that as you're explaining the benefits and the golden story, is that you're actually doing it yourself. You're leading by example. So you're walking your walk and not just talking the talk. So make sure throughout the whole process that they will be going, you're saying that, but I want to see that. Make sure that everything that you do and everything you show them, you're actually physically showing them what it is. There's not a bigger turn-off for a buyer than just hearing a whole lot of talk, because they're probably looking at other businesses as well and getting a whole lot of talk from them. So one of the key things is always be walking your walk. Another trick is, well, not a trick, but when someone's looking at buying a business, they're not really after the money. They're after what the business will give them in terms of money to be able to live, but they're actually after buying their lives back in some way. And I'm going to show you the headline and the key phrase that we use in all of our ads when we're advertising a business for sale. if we have to get to the point of advertising it. And a large part of it is for them to have control of their time. And in your business, even if it's just you, but you've got systems in place running the business, have some sort of a roster there, a time schedule there. A week to a page is great. And make sure that if you are on it, that you are not doing physical jobs that should be delegated out to somebody else. This is great if you've got employees on and you can line up them and you can show the person or the people that you're selling the business to that you're not on it. So it's a very powerful thing to show the timeframes through a roster. The other thing is proving the income history in a way that they can understand it. The transaction summary forms that we've gone through a couple of times now, and I've worked with a few of you individually on your transaction summary forms as well, is a fantastic way. It's a simple way of people seeing the money come in. They can usually work out the expenses fairly easily. Seeing the income coming in, where it's coming from, is often the harder bit to see because they don't define it. On the profit and loss, as we know, it just comes in all grouped together. So the transaction summary is a very powerful tool to do it. And then what happens is that sells it to the business owner, and then the business owner goes and sells it to the accountant. And the accountant says, well, I don't want to see this transaction summary stuff. I want to see the P&L. So it's a really good way to help the person that you're selling the business to sell it to the accountant, because that is a risky area of objection down the track if the accountant doesn't understand the business. And showing the income projection as well on the transaction summary, and I'll show you a screenshot of this in a minute. Remember how we've got the year to date where you can see the projection for the rest of the year month by month? That is an ideal income projection form to be able to show people what's going to be happening in the future. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It gives people a lot of confidence. And as I said, it helps the buyer to sell to their accountant in the accountant's language, which is the P&L. And obviously they'll work out the assets and liabilities, the balance sheet and everything else. But the main thing is that the person you're selling the business to is passionate about it and have them to sell it to the accountant. And you don't want it to be yourself or your accountant trying to sell it to the accountant. That's not where you want it. You want it to be the person paying the accountant selling to the accountant that they want to buy this business. So that's a simple example of a roster. If you can put something together which shows the different people, the different roles in the business, who's doing what, and if you do put yourself on it, leave it as blank as you can. That is a very powerful thing for the business owner to see. Even if you just have yourself on there for 1 or 2 days, that will give the purchaser a lot of confidence that they're buying their time back. It's a weird way of proof, even though they can't really substantiate it until they're actually in the business, but that's a very powerful piece of paper. And like I said, the transaction summary form, most of you have been putting this together and understand the importance now of matching up your cash flow to your customer database and being able to measure that. Remember, most people out there have never seen anything like this. They don't understand this. They might have experienced some CRM systems and some accounting systems and things like that, but most of them have never been shown an easy way to get the context of seeing this stuff. And when you show this to someone, even someone who's been in business for a while, they will love this. It gives them so much clarity and it really empowers them. So this is the micro, because this breaks it down to the week, and of course you can even go down to the day. And then you want to take them to the macro. And the macro is each month lined up. And you could do this for 2 years down the track if you wanted to. And you can add products or services or streams of businesses that you're aiming to get to down the track as well. And you can say to them that this is the opportunity that's coming with the business that you're not getting charged for yet. So that's the macro version. And then there's the proof of your ability to be able to turn the tap on to populate those projections that you've just shown them. And you guys have the promotions analysis tool, and if you were to put it into a folder and start tracking those results with the forms that you've already got, you've then got proof of things that you've done in the past, shows the results that you're getting, shows what you've got planned for the future, shows what works, but even more importantly, shows what doesn't work. It's interesting that you want to fill this folder up with a whole lot of things that you've tried and tested and invested time and money into that hasn't worked, and then showing the potential prospects all those things that you've already done, and show them all the mistakes that they're avoiding by buying your business. And what it does is it makes them think about, well, hang on a minute, these other businesses that I'm looking at, they don't have anything like this. How do I know what they've tried and tested? No one, it would be very rare to find a business with a record like this out there. And more than likely, if they're looking at buying your business, they are probably, before they sign on the dotted line, they're going to check out other businesses that they think are similar. And if you've got a few of these simple tools lined up, this is the reason why the businesses that we work with tend to sell, because they've got simple things like this. And it basically comes down to proof. And the reason why it's proof is because it's easy to see. So the promotions analysis folder, as simple as it is, very, very powerful. So start collecting yours now. And if you've got past promotions that you've already done in the past, pamphlet drops, anything at all, put those in there now and just start building that up. The more you've got, the better. And this is what the accountant wants to see. As you can tell, it's very different to what we use to run the business. This is a good overview. It's another good macro tool, but in terms of giving people confidence and breaking down the small pieces that they need to understand, it just doesn't have it. I mean, when you look at this, it's just, basically focused on the expenses. And like I said, the expenses are pretty easy to work out. So getting them started right. We've decided to sell the business, and we've put those tools together, and we've worked out how to transfer the emotion of the confidence of buying the business and the results that it's going to get. How do we get them started? Well, the way that I love to, first of all, I just wanted to say, remember as well, and there's nothing wrong with letting these people know, that the statistics about businesses out there are absolutely horrible. The insolvency companies are still going through the roof. They can't handle the amount of work that's going on at the moment, and the people going into business are going to be wary of all the horror stories out there. So if you can show them proof, you will definitely be one of the ones that they're seriously willing to part with their money with, or going into an arrangement with. So the statistics don't lie. So as soon as possible after you've given this person or the people the tour, the first thing you want to do is keep the momentum going. And you want to get them involved with the business. So you want to get their hands dirty. You want them typing things out, not talking to your clients, but you want them handling the products, being a part of the background that happens with the service. Show them the systems, really get them involved, and don't just let them stand there alongside, actually get them involved with it. If they're the right people, they should be able to get involved in some way anyway, or your business should be simple enough to be able to follow a process. But get them involved with the business in any way that you can. And map out the time frames and the actions. You actually want to get them to be able to see each thing in chunks and work towards achieving that milestone, that chunk, and then moving on to the next thing. So you want to split that up into a process and make it more and more in-depth as they go along. You're increasing their conscious incompetence, and then you're making them consciously competent. So they feel good about themselves and more confident about getting involved with the business. And the next point is getting the accountants communicating. Early in the piece, the accountant side of things communicating with each other can take the longest period of time. They want to go over the contracts, they might be busy, you don't know what their accountants are like, all that sort of stuff. You want to make sure that when this person is truly ready to go and has their finance ready and whatever, that the accountants have already done their toing and froing with contracts and all that sort of stuff, or solicitors. I should probably put accountants and solicitors in there communicating, but get those guys introduced as early as possible, because you don't want to have to go through that and then let the buyer's energy peter out over time being delayed by accountants. And setting milestone dates. It's important to actually set these little dates and keep the ball rolling. all about momentum. This is another sales funnel, guys. This is a sales funnel just like you do with any client. You need to do the same thing with a buyer of a business. Now, selling an organization of support people. So it's a fantastic thing when you see someone's eyes light up, when you let them know of this network that comes with the business. And it's kind of like this secret society that they go, wow, this is really cool. And they might already have some people in these places, but hopefully the people that you've got in place, they have the confidence to keep moving with these people. And I want to go through who these people are and what roles they're in. And your businesses at the moment, create a checklist for yourself and make sure that you've got each of these categories ticked off if appropriate, and start putting names to each of those categories, because it really is, a lot of people forget about highlighting all the past people that we might have gone through to find the right web designer or to find the right accountant or what have you. So it's important to make sure that we promote all those people. Often I see businesses sell and then the person that bought the business goes, oh, I didn't realize all these people came with it. It's such an important, valuable and attractive part of the business. Start breaking that down now. So it gives the buyer an ego boost. It also gives the buyer confidence to be without you, and that is the name of the game. It also gives the buyer a chance to set bigger plans. Often when they meet with these people, the buyer will have ideas of their own, and these other people may well go, you know what, that would actually be a really good thing. From what I know about this business, that could work really well. We could do this and we could do that. So the buyer is starting to paint a bigger picture for themselves, and that's a really powerful thing to do. It introduces the buyer to a network that they get the feeling of ownership of. So it's a control thing, and it leads to the headline that I'm going to show you towards the end of this as well to really get the right people's attention. And it also helps the buyer to answer questions from peers. So when they're buying the business, they might be getting lots of information and feedback from well-meaning relatives and other people in business that they know and all that sort of thing. And they may well get asked questions that they don't know the answers to. But if you've shown them the support network and they can say back to these peers that are asking them questions something like, I'm not sure if the CRM system does that, but I can ask Mike, who actually manages the CRM system. It really gives them a way to not get little blocks and little cold feet that other people raise for them. If you can have those experts there lined up, it's a very powerful thing, because when you're selling the business to the person in communication with them, that's all good. But then they go home and they go back to their lives and they're going back to people that they normally hang out with, and we want to equip them to be able to come back to you and still be interested in the business. So these are the different areas for you to think about. Technology in this day and age, absolutely. So you may well have different people that do the hardware, the software, even the cabling through the business, connectivity, which can mean all sorts of things in these days, often including cloud, and of course including apps. No one is expert in all of those things, so start collecting the people that you know that you would go to get the answers about each of those things. So not only knowing who they are and what they do, but also making sure that they're aware of each other as well. So when the buyer speaks to one of these people, make sure that these people are aware of the other people as well, showing them that it is actually a network of people working together and familiar with each other. Okay, so technology obviously is an important one, and the other one is marketing. And marketing has got a little bit more complicated these days thanks to online. We still need the traditional printer and the graphic designer. Having a printer and graphic designer knowing each other is a great benefit, and if they can work with a web designer as well, that's also a huge benefit. The printer and the graphic designer are probably more of the old school people. The web designer, when I say print managers, that is the people that might be advertising magazine space, even newspaper space, pamphlet drops, distribution of pamphlets and brochures to different networks, So that's what I mean by print managers. Of course, there's Google. You could even have a couple of people within the Google realm on tap that you can be in contact with. Then you've got Facebook, PPC being pay-per-click, and you've also got your sign writer. So if you've got vehicles or premises and things like that, the sign writer, of course, as well. But to have those people lined up, you don't want someone saying that they're an expert in all of those things. You should have, I think, one person in each of those categories that you can say, these are the people we go to when it comes to putting in place a marketing campaign. The next area is finance. I'm a raving fan for bookkeepers, and I'm also a raving fan for bookkeepers doing things the way that the right accountant wants it done, because then you have the bookkeeper charging $40 to $50 an hour for work that an accountant will often charge you $200 to $300 an hour for. So accountants and bookkeepers being passed along with a new business is a great benefit. Being familiar with the bank manager can often be a great help. And also, I mean, online merchants and e-commerce these days, I'm not sure why sign is there, sorry guys, but online merchants and e-commerce these days is a huge thing, and it's actually can be, as you know, if you've set it up, can be quite confronting and a hassle to put those things together. They look easy, but they're often not. They take a lot of research and due diligence to get the right ones. So having that sorted already, and explain the process that you've gone through in the past to the person buying the business to get these right people that you now have on board. So that the finance part of your business is very important. And then there's human resources these days. Human resources are becoming more and more of a distraction and a risk that people think about. There's a lot of things happening in the media where we can see big companies letting people go, replacing them with systems and this sort of thing. And the reason that people have in their minds is because employees are hard work, they're a hassle, they hear all the horror stories, when the reality is if you manage them well and if you have your HR under control, they're actually a huge benefit and can make the business a lot of fun and give you a lot of leverage. So make sure that you've got your HR person on tap to go to. Make sure that you have the management tools to go with it, and outsource sales trainers. Have an expert in the award rates in the business and in the industry. So industry experts that can be a sounding board when people are looking at adding people to the company and paying them the right rates and making sure they've got their holiday pays and all that sort of thing right. Have people to go to rather than letting this person look it up and have a look at the pay and award system, of which I think there's about 60 different awards around Australia alone at the moment. It's absolutely horrendous. That can be very scary and disconcerting for people that haven't hired people before. So make sure that you've got some sort of an industry expert, an industry contact that you can say, this is Mary, make sure if you've got any questions to speak to her, let her know the company name or I'll introduce you and she will look after you throughout that. I'm just going to do a quick check, guys, to make sure that everyone can still see the screen and everyone can hear me okay. So you might see that black box come up on your screen. And yeah, looks like everyone's okay. And just double checking. Okay, hopefully my audio is okay. Yep. Excellent. Fantastic. Great. Thanks, guys. Just wanted to double check. Nothing worse than getting to the end of finding that no one can see or hear anything. So, fantastic. And products and service suppliers. So if you're supplying a product of some sort, if it's being manufactured, if it's being supplied, if you're getting supplied by a distributor, if you're working with distributors, if you have service people, sales reps, introducing people to the sales reps, letting them know the sales reps' styles and what certain sales reps might have been trying to push in the past and what they are probably going to push in the future is an important thing, maybe confronting for new people into business or people into a new industry. And research and development, R&D. You will have people out there that you speak to that are on the forefront of development for the products or services that you're working with. So research and development is obviously another important place as well to introduce the right people to. So this is the line that gets the attention of potential entrepreneurs and business owners. Ultimately, this is what gets the biggest response. They want to be their own boss. They get this vision of being like Richard Branson, where they can gallivant around the world. They've got these people doing all these things for them. And yes, I guess it can happen, and it's happened for Richard. And while they're thinking that way and they have that confidence, we want to back them up with as much proof as we can and show them the systems and everything else. Ultimately, if you do need to get to the point of advertising your business, be your own boss is a fantastic headline which just tends to work over and over again. I personally haven't found a better headline that's worked better. Now, in setting all these things up, we're a fan of the 5S method, and 5S is a very simple way of reviewing a project that you're doing, and particularly because the goal is to give trust and confidence to the person about to buy the business, it needs to be easy to see, clean, tidy, organised and sorted. And the 5S method is a great way to make sure that you've done each of those things. So I wanted to touch on each of these steps, and you might have had experience with this before. Great. If you haven't had experience with this before, do a bit of research on it. It is a fantastic, simple, powerful methodology which you can apply anywhere in your life. It works really, really well. So the first time that this came out was actually in Japan, and particularly in the big factories, the car factories like Toyota and that sort of thing. They had a philosophy of touching things only once, and they're obviously nuts about productivity and efficiency, and that's where it sort of became popular. And then other industries started to identify the power of it, and it's been integrated into other industries and other things now. So this is where it all started. The first step is to sort. So that's removing unnecessary items, and I'm going to have to kill you a little bit with some death by PowerPoint here, guys. What I'd like you to do is have this somewhere and tick it off to make sure that you've done this in each area of your business, because they really are important. So the first thing is to sort. Remove unnecessary items and dispose of them properly. Make work easy by eliminating obstacles. Provide no chance of being disturbed with unnecessary items, and prevent accumulation of unnecessary items. So one of the keys to doing this is after you remove it is you don't have space there for anything to go back in there. Now, this doesn't only have to be physically, this can also be digitally as well. This could be websites that don't have any productive use for you, Facebook pages that you might have started up that are just sort of hanging around in the background. If you're not using them, if they're unnecessary, get rid of them, dispose of them, because they're just making distractions. So the first thing to do is to sort. The next step is to set in place or to put them in order and to arrange them. Once they're sorted and you can see the forest for the trees, then you can start putting things into an order. And preventing loss and wasting time is an obvious one, particularly if your business has stock that when it's wasted, or if time is wasted, that it costs money, which most of us do these days. Make it easy to find and pick up necessary items. So anything that they need, make sure that they're WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, very obvious. Ensuring first come, first served basis, so you can do that in a systematic way by just putting things in place and in an order. And making workflow smooth and easy. When you identify how to make the workflow smooth and easy, create a flowchart, laminate it, put a bit of colour into it, and stick it on the wall somewhere so everyone can see it. This is one of the first things that we do when we work with businesses. We look at each station within the business and make sure that a new person could very easily identify the workflow in that area. And it doesn't matter if it's over the printer, if it's over a cash register, or if it's opening a store. That is a really important thing. So set in place and put things in order, in the best order. And then shine. Make sure it's clean, make sure it's respectable. I love the saying using cleaning as inspection. I think that is just perfect. When somebody goes through an area and tidies it up, that should be the inspection. It shouldn't have to be anything else. Preventing machinery and equipment from deterioration, that includes computers and software and hardware, all that sort of thing these days. If you can go from spinning disk hardware to chip hardware that is less likely to get damaged and has longer life, that's a fantastic thing to look at as well. Backing up, obviously, automated backups, and keeping your workplace safe and easy to work in. Safety is a huge thing these days. Make sure that if there's everything in your business, from tagging your electrical wiring right up to sharp, dangerous things being put where they belong and having instructions on how to use them, make sure that your area is safe. So that's the shine part of 5S. And the second last is standardize. So standardize just means it's easy to replicate. So maintaining high standards of housekeeping and workplace organisation at all times, maintaining the cleanliness and orderliness so that it's very easy to be able to see what's going on and be able to replicate it in another place. Those of you thinking about franchising, standardizing is your life. That is basically what it's going to be. You keep experimenting and playing with the system until you get the best system, the best process, and then you say, right, how do I repeat this? How do I turn it into a cookie-cutter approach and standardize it? Also for multi-site operators as well, even if you don't want to franchise. And the last is sustain. How do we make sure that it keeps going? And how do we make it so obvious that people are self-disciplined in maintaining it? So sustaining is long-term longevity and self-discipline, and then you've got yourself a true business where it manages itself. So that is the 5 S's. Please learn the 5S. Have a look around and see if you can spot a business that is implementing the 5S system and take ideas from them. You can actually even get courses, and you can bring people in, consultants that will set up 5S practices in your business, and it doesn't just have to be manufacturing businesses, it can be any business, and it will add value to your business, and it will make it more simple and attractive for a buyer to be interested in buying your business, because ultimately they're looking to have something predictable in their lives and not chaos, and this is a great way to be able to reinforce that your business has those things. And the last step when selling a business is be prepared. You are going to be dealing with people with high emotions, and nothing ever goes to plan. So there is going to be challenges, there's going to be blocks, and there's going to be delays. It's like buying a house. I don't think I've ever had a house settle on time. It's always run over a little bit. The first time it's scary and you think you're going to lose the deal, but ultimately you find out afterwards that probably 10% of houses actually close on time. It's the same thing when you're selling a business. So the best thing you can do is get organised before you announce it for sale, before it all starts to get exciting. Get as organised as you possibly can. And when you first put the business on the market, you start talking to people about it, don't go chucking it straight up onto the internet and Gumtree and all that sort of thing first. Start small and speak to a few key people that you have been connected to in some way that you think, A, have the budget, but B, are also the right kind of people to own a business like yours. If they're not the right type of people to own a business like yours, it's unethical, obviously, to sell it to them, but also it's probably going to fall through in the selling process anyway. It's going to come out. But start it off as being an exclusive opportunity just for them. I personally love to sell businesses to managers within the businesses. It's to show the managers can see your lifestyle when you've got it set up right, and it can be very attractive for them to want to have your lifestyle and buy the business. So start off just offering it to the manager, or I like to just offer it to the manager in conversation and then taking it from there and seeing how it goes. Or even managers of similar businesses of which those businesses aren't for sale, but they have the technical skills to move into your business. That can work as well. So a little bit of headhunting almost. And then you move into promoting it yourself. So then you can have a look at the different mediums out there where people are looking to buy businesses, not necessarily for bargain businesses, but for quality businesses. So choose quality publications. Even industry publications are a great place to go because you know only the people looking in there are already in the industry. So start off by promoting it yourself, and then if you do choose to use a broker, go and check their references. You've got to check their references. Anything that they tell you obviously needs to be substantialized, because at the end of the day they are salespeople themselves. They've probably been doing it for a long time. They've seen every trick in the book, and they may well use every trick in the book. So personally, I'm not hugely experienced at using brokers. I have worked with clients using brokers. I would prefer to sell a business in either an exclusive opportunity first and then selling it myself. It's not that complicated if you've got an accountant who is experienced at transferring ownership of businesses. You will find they'll do most of the work that a broker will do anyway. And then you have your brokers. The good thing with the right broker is they often do, because they work on commission, they often come up with ideas to increase the sales price of your business and to help you be more disciplined in sticking to your price. That can be a benefit, and obviously their networks as well. However, I think if you've got a good business and you've picked your price, you should be able to sell yourself in the exclusive opportunity model or promoting yourself model. And be calm about it all. When the challenges come up, just acknowledge the challenges and solve the problems. That's what we need to do. Just be problem solvers and just expect challenges to come up and just go, yep, that's fine. I can see that's a concern, that's a challenge. Let's have a look at how we can solve that. And away we go. So there we are. Let's do a recap as usual. I've taken you through the process of how to get people to beg for your business, and that's by selling the opportunity of financial as well as lifestyle and time. So that is what they're after. A lot of people focus on the money that they're going to be able to make, and that's not the way to do it. And the other way is to use proof and show them, introduce them to the business by walking your talk. Getting them started right, getting them involved, getting the momentum going, and keep the energy up. Remember, it's just like a sales funnel with a client. You want to increase the pace as quickly as you can, and you can only really do that if you're prepared beforehand. Remember to sell an organization of support people, not just the business. So it's not just you, it's all those people behind, all the connections there. It will give them a whole lot of confidence, because they will need confidence to actually follow through and sign on the dotted line to commit to buying business from you. Implement the 5S method. It works, it's powerful, make it simple. You've got the tools through the rest of the program to make everything clear and obvious. So use the 5S method to pull all of those things together so that you can get the result that you deserve, which is selling the business and achieving your exit strategy. And be as prepared as you can. All we can do is prepare for the worst. Prepare for the best and expect the worst? It's all we can do. Be as prepared as you can, and you have got more than enough tools to be able to do this. These tools that you guys have been used for many years and sold quite a few businesses. So use them. So for homework this week, I know some of you have been very diligent with your homework, and I've been getting things through, which has been great, and I've been able to go through them and flick them back to you with some ideas, and so nothing has changed for this week. What will your business look like when finished? I love doing a flow write on a piece of paper and just getting out of my head what the business will look like when it's finished. It's a powerful thing to do, and then you can turn it into a checklist afterwards and put some time frames onto it. So imagine your business a couple of years down the track, do that vision, and then work out a way to, instead of having it looking like that in 2 years' time, see if you can make it look like that in 6 months' time. It's a powerful thing to do. Who is a serious prospect to buy your business? Start creating your list now. Start putting your ear to the ground and finding those people that you can offer the business opportunity to in an exclusive arrangement. So start finding those people. Make your list of what needs to change. So like I mentioned before, when you're doing your vision, what it's going to look like when it's finished, create a list out of that, and identify your support team. Pull out your business cards, have a look through your emails, through your contacts in your phone, and start documenting down in those sections that I showed you before. Start creating that. It's almost a concierge desk for within your business. Start putting those together because they will help you to sell the business when you want to move on from it. And pick a price based on the value to the buyer. This webinar series is called How to Start a Business and Sell It 18 Months Later for $315,500 in 5 Easy Steps. That particular business that I sold for that amount, the other 38, I think, franchises that were around, some of them been around for 50 odd years, they generally sold for between $80,000 and $130,000 each. So, and I sold mine for $315,500, and that was just one of them. I had another one as well. It sold very well as well. So, don't base your price on what you might perceive to be market value or what have you. Base it on what it is that someone buy. The reason why this business sold for $315,500 and not for less than half of that is because all these things that I just went through were implemented in the business. When this person she was the manager of the business actually, and she saw my lifestyle and she loved it, and she would just do anything to get her hands on it, and that's what she did. And she was happy to pay that price, and she stood up for herself buying the business afterwards to the other franchisees because they went, "You're crazy for paying that amount of money." And she'd say back to them, "Yeah, but you're working 5 and 6 days a week in your business. I go in there on Mondays and just make sure that the checks are cleared." You know, I mean, that was the difference. So be very careful when you're picking your price that you're not picking it on other people's opinions and the market's opinion. Be clear on what it is, the opportunity that you are actually selling, and sell it for the right price that it's truly worth, because you deserve it. So next week, we're going to be finding out where to find good people. So the challenge that we hear so often is I just can't get good people. Well, I'm going to show you how to find the good people and to have them actually coming to you. How to recruit without wasting your time and money. So most people do it the long, hard way and ineffective way. I'm going to show you the quick way, and you're going to get all the tools to do that, all the paperwork, everything that you need to do it, which is in our process. So you are going to love that. And then once you've got them on board, we need to manage them. It doesn't always need to be like herding cats. When you've got the tools in place and you bring people on with the right dynamic that we're going to show you next week, it's actually a lot easier than most people think. Maintaining the culture, so once you've got the right people and once you're managing them well, it's quite easy to maintain the culture. And the culture is basically turning the business into a game that they love to play so much that they kick you out of the business to play it. So that's a fantastic thing we're going to be going through. And letting people go. I want to touch base on that because a lot of people keep people in the businesses that really shouldn't be there. And I'm just going to run through a bit of the psychology of that, and that it's actually a lot easier than most people think. And yes, there are horror stories out there of businesses being sued for sacking people and firing people and all that sort of thing. But personally, the number of people that I've hired is probably around the 300 mark. I've had to actually sack one person out of all of that, and it was so obvious it wasn't funny. Everyone else, I've just let go and managed them out. And when you use this process that we're going to show you next week, you'll see how easy it is that you should never have to really sack people or fire people. So that's what we're going to be going through next week, which is really cool. I actually really like hiring people, and yeah, it's one of the kicks that I get out of being in business. So as usual, we're going to send you some tools and resources. Yes, more. I know you've already got heaps, but we're going to load you up with more. Keep sending me those questions. I really appreciate your questions because I know you're listening and that you're getting results out of this. And please remember to have a great week, and that business is more fun when there's profit. And have a safe weekend. We'll chat with you all soon. Have a great one. Thanks, guys. Bye.